Okay, trauma, it's an emotional feeling after a terrible event. So being a facilitator, it's my duty to help someone out from the situation.
You helping people out from the situation? You
Through
mean you go find them and help them out?
Yeah.
Are you a medic or something?
No, but we are also doing mental health awareness. Yeah. So trauma is part of mental health.
So how in line of your duty, what do you do? I'm trying to figure out, do you speak to people or what do you do?
I do speak to people and I do mentor them and sensitization. Yeah.
Okay. Right. When we are talking about trauma in itself, some people may be wondering, what are these guys even talking about? What is trauma in the first place?
Okay, trauma, it's an emotional feeling after a terrible event.
Emotional?
Yeah, emotional feeling.
Which means it's from inside?
Inside, yeah. And psychological trauma, this is a response to an event that a person finds highly stressful. Like example, a war zone or a natural disaster.
Right.
Yeah.
Highly stressful.
Yeah. You are not comfortable with yourself. You are not at peace. You can't concentrate. You sound weird. Yeah.
Can any event lead to trauma? Just a normal one, or must be something big like a disaster that you've mentioned?
Yes, because any negative event leads to trauma. Yeah.
We've got stress, we've got depression, we've got trauma. These things are quite confusing for those who are do not understand. How do we differentiate the two?
Okay, for you to be stressed, you have to pass through traumatic event. Yeah. And the highly stressful that we've mentioned lead to depression. And some of them end up committing suicide.
Right. Yeah. So the first stage we get is trauma.
Yeah.
That's why you hear people saying, I'm traumatized about this.
Yeah.
Right. We normally have so many things that have happened to different people and in different areas, and they have been affected in one way or another. Looking into the kinds of happenings that do happen, if I'm supposed to control myself not to get traumatized, what am I supposed to do?
Okay, most of people fail to self-awareness. You know, when you know more about yourself, nothing can shake you. Yeah, and that is why during our therapies, we first take you to a session of self-awareness. Yeah, because
what is it when you're saying self-awareness?
You know more about yourself, your do's, your don'ts, your likes. So when you go through it, you'll be able to avoid such situations. Yeah.
The do's and the don'ts,
yeah.
Am I supposed to communicate to myself, or somebody else is supposed to tell me, I've studied you and I've seen you don't like this, you like this?
Yes. First you have to start by yourself, then you look for somebody, maybe like for maybe 5-minute talk. Who am I? What I like, and something like that. Yeah.
How important is it for somebody to self-look at themselves and try to create awareness about themselves?
First, it creates confidence. Confidence is everything. And when you're able to communicate with yourself, I believe that you are capable to face anything in life. And nobody can trigger you or can shake you with anything negative, because you believe in yourself.
Does that not equate to arrogance?
No.
You want to tell me, like, this confidence you're talking about here, if I have the confidence that you're talking about here, nothing of any sort will traumatize me?
You will, but you will know how to go on with yourself. You can let it go. You can face it, because you will be able to face a problem rather than avoiding it. Most people are affected because of avoiding the problem. But when you face your problem, you'll be able to heal, accept, and move on.
If something happens and somebody gets traumatized, does that equate to weakness?
It is not weakness.
Emotional weakness?
No.
Because you've said here, if the person is not confident.
We are different, and we are different from you and I. So when you get trauma, it's not because you're weakness, but maybe you are tested, you know. It's an illness, and God loves us, you know, and that is why He tested us in different ways.
Right.
Yeah.
So you believe it's not just a matter of people seeing you as weak,
Yeah.
like you don't have to control yourself, you don't know how to handle your emotions. How do somebody who is traumatized behave?
You know, these are major symptoms of traumatized. You're going through maybe withdrawal, sadness, hopeless.
Withdrawal from what?
From the people. Yeah, sadness, hopeless, lack of concentration, denial, anger, nightmares, and such like stuffs. You
And
are
that-
not at peace. You can't concentrate. You are always, yeah.
Is there any scenario, is there any experience that you met, maybe you talked to somebody and you saw, that you can share with us and give us a good example of this situation was kind of a traumatized event that caused this person and it led him to do this and this and this, which is not good for them?
Okay, during my healing session, I met with somebody who lost her mother, and the death caused her highly severe trauma, I can say. So she withdrew from people, she used to cry, she was hopeless.
But it's normal, you know, if somebody
Yes,
dies.
it is normal, but we want to avoid grieving. You know, grieving is the dangerous thing in trauma, because you can't let it go, and it is repeatedly. You can grieve from day and night, and that is very bad. You know. So I saw her on Instagram page, the video that she used to post, and I DM her, and I told her, I'm here to help you. Are you ready for a healing session? At first she refused, but I insisted her, and it was my responsibility, by the way, so I have to visit her and where she stays, and she accepted. She was a doctor. She refused to go to work, and I told her, you still have a purpose, and this is not the end. In fact, when you have something that triggers you, it's the beginning of something new and maybe something special.
Right.
Yeah. So we went for almost 6 healing sessions, and she was okay. She went back to work, and she's now totally upright, mashallah. Yeah.
Now, using that example of yours that you've given us, and somebody dies, of course people do die, and they affect us in one way or another. What does it take for you to move on? What is required of you for you to move on? Forget, okay, so and so died, it's okay. Life needs to continue.
Okay. You know, healing is full of up and downs, and healing is not easy, and that is why many people end up committing suicide or refuse to let it go. But you have to accept your situation. You have to accept that this is a test from God, and maybe we can also say it's a gift, right? And you have to heal for you to overcome it. You are supposed to cry, you are supposed to grieve, you are supposed to talk. You need support from family and friends.
Right.
Yeah.
In the line of youths now, let's talk a little bit concerning the youths and how trauma affects them in one way or another. From your own line of duty also, have you mingled with youths who kind of talk to you and you feel like trauma also hurts the youth the most?
Yes, in fact, most of us are affected. Yeah, most of youth. We are affected in one way or another.
Between we, the youths, and at least the older generation, whom do you feel they heal faster?
The older generation, because we youth have a lot of things. You know, for a youth to settle, you need to be more confident about yourself. Yeah. Most of us think that this has happened to me and I can't move on and this is the end of my life. So it's very hard.
How hard is it to talk to a youth about trauma?
Opening up is not easy, by the way, for youth. Yeah.
Why is it so?
You need to be more intelligent. You need to use more ways and for a person to open up to you, because a problem share is a problem solved, but to we youth is vice versa. They think that when they share a problem to you, you'll be the one who talking ill about them. Yeah, and there will be more of criticization and stigmatization,
right.
And that is why they're afraid to talk.
How can we change that mentality?
By inspiring them, motivate them. We have a lot of successful stories, and they end up opening up. Yeah, at first session, you might see that let me just leave them and go to look for something else and do, but don't give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah. When you're going on, one person might open up and the rest will follow. Yeah.
Looking into the youths in particular, which is the most cause of their trauma? Because speaking to some of them before I even got to this point of having this conversation, they were telling me, like, if something happens to me in my line of a relationship or love, that's where I find myself getting into trauma.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah, and most of them are affected by love. Yeah, love, maybe family brutalities, where they're coming from. Yeah, but most of our youth, or most of we youth, are affected by love. You know, when we love, we trust somebody too much, and when he or she does something that shatters the foundation of the relationship, a person might suffer from a severe traumatic illness. Yeah.
So do you advocate for people not to love and trust too much, or what are you trying to say?
No. I don't advocate on that, but I'm insisting and advising them. You know, we are tested. As I'm repeating myself, we are tested, and life is full of challenges, because when you avoid from love, maybe you'll get it from a friend, a family member, maybe at home,
right.
At work, you know. So all we can do is accept and move on, but make sure we heal first, because if we don't heal, we'll end up bleeding on others. Yeah.
We've witnessed a number of suicidal cases having to increase, particularly in line of relationships and love, not alone to the youths. Also, we have the young adults who are growing up and they get into a relationship, but it does not end so well. And you find, digging deeper into those stories, you find that there's something that happened that triggered them to that point.
Yes.
Do you feel like if something could have been addressed earlier on, we could not get to a place where we have the increased number of suicide cases that we see?
True. And that is why most of suicidal cases lead to depressions, you know. After the event, it's better for you to look for somebody whom you trust and talk to, rather than keep quiet, because it kills you slowly and it burns inside you. So it will reach a point where a person finds that I'm over, I can't move on, because you find it very heavy to carry it, okay? Yeah.
Speaking about opening up, and of course that is the key most point at which somebody, the very first stage at which you are supposed to be healing, according to whatever you explained here. From the people you've met, and this issue about opening up, how do you find it?
Opening up is good. You know, when you share your problem, half of the problem is going to be solved. But make sure.
Is it that easy to open up? You know, I'm speaking to my fellow human.
Yeah, it's not easy, but sometimes you have to open up because it's good for your health.
The question is, whom am I opening up to? You know, we have friends who can turn against us and talk bad about us. The society today in itself, you know, you say your problem today, you find it somewhere else where you are not even part of. And you wonder, whom am I going to speak to?
You need to look for somebody, maybe a doctor, a bold person, a civilized person. You know, not everybody you can talk to, okay? So sometimes you might talk to a friend a well-known friend, an understanding friend, maybe we can say that. And that is why we are here, because we always go on sub-counties, maybe, and villages, taking mental health to the village. So we are here. Our numbers are out. So anytime, any day, when you need a help or a shoulder to cry, we are here. Because you might talk to somebody, and he or she has no knowledge on that.
Right.
Yeah. So he may end up advising you in a negative way. Yeah.
Right. When I'm supposed to open up, let's say I've faced something and I feel I'm traumatized, and I'm being told to come out, open up, speak to people, do not withdraw. How do I get that courage and the confidence to speak up, and also without withstanding the fact that also we have different people that we know, and we also fear like maybe something like that may come and happen again. There's that fear. Somebody will tell you, okay, you just need to move on. Life is just about that. And you also have that kind of fear that maybe this thing may come back to haunt me again. How do we get to balance the two?
As soon as you are triggered, you will see yourself, maybe, or the people around you might see you've changed and you are not okay. Maybe you oversleep, you've lost your appetite.
Oversleeping is also a symptom of trauma.
True, it is. Most of the people,
I think we are relaxing.
No.
The mind is at peace there.
There are people who can sleep from morning to evening. Do you know that?
Sleeping?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my advice is, whenever you are triggered or you've seen something that it is not normal, just look for somebody and talk to. Because maybe you will not know what is going through you, but when you seek for somebody, you will know what your problem is and where the problem is, and maybe he or she might look for a way to help you out.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Is that the case?
Yes. We need to live by them.
Okay.
Because we are not aware, or we don't know which time we are going to be triggered. So when you are triggered, you need to find a way to live by it and to overcome it.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody out there will be wondering, life can throw so much to us that it's quite unbearable from our inside. And we have different strengths emotionally to withhold.
Yes, we are different.
And if I'm supposed to make myself to be strong enough emotionally so that I cannot get into being traumatized, what should I do?
You can't, by the way.
There is no weight at which you can hide from your emotion?
You can't. There is no way, because we are human beings. We need to accept that we are human beings and we are supposed to be tested, So, and it's good for us to break down, by the way, when we are tested. Because when we ignore, we may end up finding ourselves in a very difficult situation. So, it's okay to not be okay. Yeah.
Right. The people around us, maybe our friends, our relatives, our parents, the people we work with, our colleagues, our comrades, for those who are in colleges and higher learning institutions. If we note that somebody is behaving kind of weirdly, simply because he underwent something so bad in his life or her life, can we be of help?
Yes.
And in what way?
You can, by listening here. Most of people, we don't listen to them. We ignore. And ignorance is very bad. So at times maybe something is very small, you can solve it, but because we are ignoring anything or everything, so that small thing may end up becoming a big thing.
Right.
So you can also help a person, not only me. And that is why you are told to have first aid, Yeah, you can be a first aider.
And emotional, do we have emotional first aiders?
Yes.
I only know for those who kind of treat wounds and what have you.
No.
If you agree with whatever Fadhila is saying here in regards to psychological trauma, do so. Share your thoughts, share your feedback via the number you see below your screen. Move to all our social media platforms. We are still moving on with the discussion. That is said that also youths undergo trauma in one way or another, in as much as they are strong, but these kind of events that do happen in their life can cause them to be seen as weak and cause some bit of troubles in their mind, a bit of so lengthy and so much stress in whatever they do that can also reduce their productivity in terms of thinking too much without also having concentration in their line of duty or also in their places of works. What is the biggest effect of trauma into one's life?
The biggest effect is it shatters everything, your purpose, your dreams, anything. It shatters everything. In fact, yeah.
Even my work?
Yeah.
So if, for instance, if I get traumatized today, I will not be able to execute what I'm executing now?
No. You know, trauma is like stairs, okay? The more you go up, the more it affects you. So maybe you might be triggered on your way coming to work. You will come, but you will not be any normal as usual. And the more you ignore it, maybe it will really affect you after 1 week, maybe, because those signs and symptoms may be appearing on you repeatedly.
Right.
Yeah.
If, for instance, now you've mentioned that trauma is like a stair. The more you go up, the more it affects you. Do you want to tell me we can't treat the trauma like if it's at the early stages and it will not affect you so badly?
Yes, we can.
How is the healing process now?
The healing process is when you are, maybe you are traumatized and you come to me. First is we need a good space, maybe a calm space, okay, whereby you can talk to me. And I have 3 questions. Okay, what happened? How did you feel? And what is the hardest part?
What happened?
How did you feel?
How did you feel?
And what is the hardest part? Yeah. So.
And out from those questions, you need 2 answers.
I need openly. Everything.
If I choose not to open up and tell you just, I don't get into the deep side of it, will you be in a position to help as well?
Then you are not ready to heal. You know, healing is very hard. And when you decide to heal, you have to be open. Okay? You have to be open, and totally open, naked open.
Right.
Yeah.
So after the questions, you get the answers. What next?
What next is maybe, some people, after you giving me the answers, they end up breaking down. So I'm giving you time to cry maybe, and some may end up fainting. I'm giving you time, maybe 1 hour. It will depend. And then, are you ready to come back? Yes. Okay, we are going to proceed. Okay. If this is the hardest part, are you ready to heal, or are you ready to let it go? Some are ready, and some they wanted to maybe, okay, I'm trying. Right. And you're not supposed to try, by the way. You are supposed to yes or no. Those are the 2 questions.
No, not trying.
Not trying.
Right.
Yeah, because when you try, it's like you are, maybe you are gambling.
And if, for instance, somebody comes to you and he's talking to you, he talks of whatever he underwent, and you've gotten the answers there, how do you do your recommendations now?
We are not supposed to conclude for you. You are the one who are going. You are the one who you are going to choose for yourself and conclude for yourself. My responsibility is to guide you. Then you will decide by yourself. Yeah. If you want to heal, or you want to continue grieving. That is up to you.
Do you want to tell me, like, you don't say something like, if this happened to you, or if, so, let's, for instance, now I come and explain that we had broke up with my fiance, that we were supposed to kind of get married soon, and that has affected me. Do you want to tell me there is no recommendation for that you can give? Or it depends with the scenario? And
yeah, it depends. You know, when you conclude for a client, sometimes he or she may end up blaming you, you know. What you think is different from what I think.
Right.
Yeah. So we prefer for a client to come up with a solution by he or she herself. We can't force you to heal, by the way.
Right.
Healing needs time. So during our sessions, maybe after the third session, we force you to heal. No, that's not right.
Right.
Yeah.
How long does the session of healing take? Is it months or years or what?
No, months, maybe 6 months. And after that, we give you a referral maybe to a psychiatric. Yeah, because when you finish the 6 months and you've not healed, that's very serious. Yeah.
Very serious.
Very serious.
Is there any sort of medication to heal trauma?
Yeah, there is.
Such as which ones? Do we have tablets that I can take and I say I'm now good to go? Trauma is no more with me.
Yes, but after you've gone through the sessions, maybe, and then we refer you to a psychiatric. Okay? And when he or she says this is very serious, and then you're going to start your medication.
Right.
There are some tablets like quantipine, okay, that will help you to relax your mind and avoid such nightmares and the hallucinations.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody maybe is watching and wondering whether if it is important to look into and be part of these sessions that you're talking about. Is it key?
Yes, it is, by the way. And that is why we are now going on a grassroots areas, because mental health is everywhere, by the way.
Right. Even as a grassroots.
Yeah, everywhere.
Is it not costly to attend these sessions that you're talking about here?
It depends. You know, we are different, by the way. So mine are affordable. And when I see maybe the situation is very tough, you're coming from a maybe poor background, I'm doing it for free.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you get to even start doing this whole stuff? Did you go through trauma or what?
We are tested.
Have you ever been traumatized before?
Yes.
How many times?
Uncountable. You know.
Which one do you remember and you say, this one hit me so hard?
I can't remember because I've healed and I forget, by the way. I can't remember any.
Does healing, you know, must you forget for you to say you've healed? I can be healed, but I'm not.
You know, it's like a wound, okay? So when you have a wound and the wound is still fresh, and alafu mtu haja kutonesha, how will you feel? How will you feel?
Kind of some bit of pain.
Yeah, but when it is a scar and you come and hit me on the scar, will I feel any pain?
Right.
No, because I've healed.
Did you go through to somebody and spoke to and you became healed, or you just did it by yourself?
No, I went to somebody. Maybe sometimes I went, you never know, maybe I went through sessions, I went through counseling maybe.
So counseling also is part and parcel of the healing process.
Yeah.
But counselors out there, their fee is quite, you know, huge, and most people feel like there is no need of me going to meet a counselor.
True. But just don't assume. You know, we people are afraid. Just go and follow up for the prizes maybe, because sometimes you might be lucky. As I said, maybe I'll give it for free. Okay?
Right. Yeah. People might even say that you, as facilitators, have failed in helping the youths get out of trauma. For instance, you are a youth, I'm a youth. I may feel that fear of coming to explain myself to you simply because I don't know, maybe you can come out from there and go explain whatever I've explained to you, to people, you see. Do you feel also you guys, you can take up the blame?
No, because anything we share outside, first we need to seek a permission from you. Yeah. If you're willing, we can use it as an inspiration to others. And if you're not willing, then we'll shut it up. Because it's between you and I.
Right.
Yeah.
And
our witness is God.
Right.
Yeah.
And issues about maybe you guys charging more to people who need help, you know? Don't you see it from that angle? This is a person who needs help and you're here charging.
You know, learning, when I was learning, I wasted a lot of money, by the way. So, and for me to succeed in life or to be able to sustain my life,
Right.
So it's a job.
It's a job.
Yeah, it's a job.
Uko kazi.
Niko kazi.
Right. There's one phrase here we normally use. Hapa ni kazi.
Hapa kazi tu.
Very true. Now, and somebody also may ask, we are talking most about the youths and the young and the old generation. Do even the small kids that we have around and the children undergo trauma also?
Yes.
And how is their healing process compared to ours?
Okay, healing process for children and adults are a bit different because children, maybe their mind is shallow, so you need to be more tricky, yeah, something like that.
Right.
You need to be more close to them and friendly to them, and they will end up. And maybe if they can't open up through their mouth, there are many ways for a children to open up, maybe by drawing. Okay, yeah. And most of the time we use drawing to children to explain how they feel, what they see, and something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Between the youths and the kids and the children, whom do you think they heal to first?
Children.
Children.
Yeah.
Simply because?
Their mind is shallow, you know. And they're not stubborn.
Right.
Yeah. So when you tell them,
they're quick to adjust.
Yeah, when you tell them anything, they accept, and that's how healing become easy for us. Yeah.
Right. Now, once I'm healed out from trauma, and I've decided, okay, let the bygones be the bygones. Let's move and soldier ahead. How do I train myself and continue moving on without looking back to whatever happened earlier on?
Okay, by accepting it first, you need to accept that this situation has happened to me. Okay, and you are told not to be a slave of your past.
Right.
Okay, so when you accept those two things, your life will be more easier for you to heal anything that will come across you.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Today in the dailies, there's a proposal in the Senate that looks into a crafting of a bill that will develop the getting more mental health awareness and issues about treatment of mental illness for people. And during the time of the COVID-19 also, we've had a lot of cases that have come out from the mental health situations, and it has been quite one of the focus much, looking into also youths have had to undergo a lot. They've lost their jobs, their businesses have been closed down, and it has caused also some bit of trauma, and which lead to mental illness. With the coming of this bill, are you optimistic like things will change?
Yes, we will. Yeah, because when you get more facilitators, the more facilitators, the less the clients maybe, or the more facilitators, the less
the easier the work will be.
Yeah, the easier.
And is that a challenge that you are facing, that you have to do a lot of stuff, talk to many people simply because you have less, you're less in number?
True.
And how do you feel the government should look into this, also helping you guys in your line of duty?
Okay, maybe they give us a space, maybe a space whereby we are going to have more counseling on relationships, lives, jobs, and any there. Pre-counseling, post-counseling, then we need a huge space and a big space maybe, where it will be like a stepping stone for us and for the people.
Right. If somebody wants to join and be part of being a facilitator, how is the journey like? What should they do or should they study?
Okay. You are supposed to be a psychologist maybe, if you wish to be. Or you are going to take that trauma healing facilitator course. Yeah.
Right. Only that?
Only that.
And you're good to go?
You're good to go. But not the only first, maybe for 1 year, roughly 1 year.
All right. Very true. That is what we are discussing here, which is about psychological trauma, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a very, very important topic of discussion. Fadhila, how easy or hard is it to be a facilitator?
At first you might find it easy, but when you're able to reach some people, it's very hard because some stories might affect you too. And that is why we came up with our phrase that says even the advisor need to be advised. You know, some cases hit us very hard, and we may end up to maybe lose our concentration.
And have you ever gotten to a place you had an experience with somebody who came to talk to you and you felt, if I were him or if I were her, I could not manage to get myself out of this? Do you get very shocking stories out there?
Yes, I get more of them. But
And do they make you feel?
you know, at first, I remember when I was taking my first healing session, I used to cry every session. When a client cried,
You also cry. Nowadays you're strong.
I'm strong because I'm used to it now. I've had so many cases, so now it's like it's normal.
And it calls a lot for being so empathetic on something. Right. Now, maybe somebody has watched you and would like to be part of whatever you do at cost. What did you say? It's cost women?
Cost to women economic empowerment. Okay, in Cost to Women, we empower women.
Women alone?
Women and men do benefit.
Why so many organizations are too much focused on women?
No, we are focused on women, but men also benefit in one way or another. And we do girl child protection, girl child education, entrepreneurship and innovations. That's all about Cost to Women.
Right. What is the benefit of empowering women out there?
When you empower women, you empower the whole nation. And
That's what you say.
yeah. And when you empower a woman, we raise future, and we raise definitely a future for us, for our daughters, for our brothers, for our sisters.
Right. Where are your offices if somebody wishes to get to you?
For now, we don't have an office, but through your prayers and blessings, one day, one time, we might have an office.
Right. I guess you do online offices.
Yeah, online office.
Right. But we do appreciate your time. And for instance, if somebody who is undergoing a psychological treatment there and wants to get to you, how can they find you? Your social media platforms as well?
Okay, on my Facebook, I'm Lila Brown. On Instagram,
Who?
Lila Brown.
Lila Brown.
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm unfold_tweet_Lila. Unfold with Lila. Are you getting my username? Unfold. Yeah.
Unfold.
Yeah, unfold.
So you mean you are folded and now you are unfolded?
Yeah. And I'm ready to unfold others.
Right. Very true. So listen to this. If you are going through psychological trauma and you need help, Fadhila Kibwana is right here to help you out, you can get in touch with us and we will link you up with her so that in one way or another you can get help. Last but not least, speak to somebody who is undergoing psychological trauma. Tell them a word of encouragement during these trying moments.
Life is not a bed of roses, and we are tested, not only you, but all of us, we are tested in different way or another. Okay, what I can tell you is don't give up, don't lose hope. You have a purpose, you have a dream, so make sure when you fall while looking upwards, because you will be able to wipe off the dust and stand. But when you fall while looking downward, you may end up sleeping and not waking up forever.
Right. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we've come to the end of our morning discussion here, but there is still one more thing I'll be doing when I get back. Don't go too far. Stay tuned.